Before 1948, it was Palestine. Now, it's Israel. But the disagreement reaches far beyond a name, because behind the name change, the history stays the same, and the blood on the hands of both peoples does not dry. The question of a rightful name comes with more than 60 years of conflict, and with no end in sight, alternative solutions must be found. One such solution is coexistence.
After the Intifada, nobody talked with nobody. You understand? So if it will go back, it's hard to say. It's hard to believe, but maybe, a few people can make the small thing inside, and then it will go. I don't know. I hope so.
I think it's a dream or a euphoria. It's not reality. It's never going to be happen.
You can see in the market, we live together, no problem. It will be good, it will be okay if Israel peoples and Palestinian peoples can live together. Can want to live together.
We live side by side, that's it. And all the time we live side by side. The peace is not come. It's not come, the peace. No.
There are 7.8 million people in Israel, 6 million Jews, and 1.6 million Arabs, both Muslim and Christian. The territory is divided into 3 areas. Area A, which is controlled by Palestinians, Area B, jointly controlled by Palestinians and Israelis, and Area C, controlled by Israelis. Jews and Palestinians live in all 3 areas. Jerusalem's Old City has 4 ethnic areas: Armenian, Christian, Muslim, and Jewish. On the edges of these quarters, differences aren't always apparent.
I don't know when I walk down the street who's an Arab and who's not an Arab. I don't necessarily take notice of it. I think we do live together by definition. That doesn't mean that I'm in favor of a political settlement that includes giving rights to people who I don't believe belong here in the first place.
At the Armenian store up the street from Danziger's house, he sees the other. But to him, these acquaintances don't have the same everlasting inheritance to the land as the Jews do.
I don't call us an occupying force. We can't be an occupying force if we are the indigenous people to the area. I don't call it the conflict because conflict creates a balance, like there's some basis for the conflict. There is no basis for the conflict. The Jewish people belong here.
Just 1/4 of a mile from Danziger's home is the Arab market, a cultural melting pot.
We are living all together now, but we don't like each other.
To me, there is no people, the Palestinians. If you mean people of the Islamic religion, or Christians who are Arabs who live in the same country as I do, I'm willing to talk about them. But as Palestinians, I don't get involved in that because I don't share that view.
Of course, they should care for their country, for their nation, but they don't care for the other side. And in this situation, I don't think that there is any real opportunity for peace.
Far from the segregated communities of the city, a lack of constant tension gives citizens a better chance at coexistence. Oasis of Peace, Neva Shalom Wahat al-Salam, founded in 1978, is located midway between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. 30 Jewish and 30 Arabic families live here. The goal? Coexistence. In 1984, Raik Rizik and his wife became the 6th family at Oasis of Peace. Since then, it has become a community where Jews and Arabs coexist, a place that leaves room for a new kind of normality.
We grew up never having the chance to talk directly face to face.
And now they do. Problems with community development and organization have sprung up over the years, but they're not over nationality.
The conflicts that we have been facing here, or the arguments, were not specifically between Jews and Palestinians, okay? Within every separate community there were also, they had their own conflicts, okay? So here you lose kind of your identity, or you begin to search for a new identity. I mean, coming here being Jewish or being a Palestinian, you somehow are in the beginning sure that you will be with this group against that group.
This new identity is not always understood by outsiders.
For those who were telling me, no, this is not realistic what you are doing here, I tell them this is the most realistic thing. We are accepting the fact that this country is inhabited by two people, and we are living this fact, okay? Not like you living separate and still denying the right of the other side to live here, okay?
But Oasis of Peace is not in an A, B, or C area. It could never be decided whose side the land should be on, so it became a so-called no man's land, unrecognized by international law. Until both sides can agree, it will stay this way. And as it turns out, that way is in a shared community.
The outside expects always that, they come here and especially journalists, they are all in a position where each side believes that the truth is on their side, okay? So they are like one-sided in their opinion, and usually they leave a bit disappointed, It's not what I thought,
Rizik says this disappointment happens when visitors realize one side has compromised for the other. But he says compromise doesn't change the way people live their lives.
The Jewish people who are living here are still committed, they are still respecting their background, their identity, okay, and the same thing with the other side. And together we are trying to figure out something else.
That something else includes the community's two schools, the School of Peace for adults and a primary school for children.
From the age 0, the kids began to hear Arabic and Hebrew, and at first grade they began to learn writing and reading the Arabic and the Hebrew as second language at the same time.
But learning two languages is not the only mission.
The goal of the school that to have graduates, human graduates that's feeling can understand the feeling of the other and can build the future together, and they can solve the problem without violence.
Not with violence, but with education.
What we need to solve this conflict is create a culture of peace, and it should start from the very top of the pyramid.
People, when they come, until they learn all this complexity and they visit the school and they see the classroom with the kids Jewish and Arab, and they cannot tell the difference sometimes because they look all the same. We all look the same in this country here.
2 decades later, Oasis of Peace's message reached Jerusalem. In the midst of inner-city tension, another school opened its doors to coexistence. At Hand in Hand, students go from kindergarten through 12th grade in a bicultural environment, learning Hebrew, Arabic, and English. A new kind of education for a new generation and perhaps a new future.
Well, one thing, the way they look at the other will be very different. The way the Arabs will look at the Jews will look at the Arabs will be very different.
The other works by their side in every class. The other is there when sirens are heard, when people are killed, when Independence Day takes place. Through thick and thin, the other is there. And for Yuman and Ranim, the other has become their friend.
One of my best friends is Jewish, and yeah, she comes to my house and I go to her house a lot. She's really open-minded and stuff. She's really good.
A friendship that puts years of ethnic animosity aside.
I don't think we have to build any society on hatred. I think to do so is completely wrong. And I can't believe, again, Jews that have gone through the Holocaust and have gone through anti-Semitism through the ages would, now that we have our own country, would want to create a society that hates the other.
The main obstacle would be prejudice and misperception. If those things will not be changed for the next generations, no matter how many treaties or peace summits there are going to be or how many ceasefires, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that major, significant changes in society necessarily come from government decisions. Laws can be passed, but attitudes can't.
And attitudes can come into play when students go home from school. Outside the school, students get verbally harassed, but that doesn't stop them from having positive outlooks.
I think it's not about being friends, it's more about respecting them and showing them that there is a good side in us.
I'm not saying that there's not bad Arabs. Like, I know that there's bad Arabs terrorists, but there's also Jews who are bad. The both sides are wrong, but they don't understand. They think that all the Arabs are terrorists, and that's like really hurtful, because I'm not a terrorist. In fact, I love Jewish people because they're really nice.
2007 statistics from the Association for Civil Rights in Israel showed more than a third of Israeli teens feared Arabs, and more than half would not befriend them.
Once you understand the other, maybe you don't like every component, but it's some knowledge of their culture and their worldview and their philosophy. I would say that that's maybe the most important issue.
There has to be more schools like this. There has to be more understanding between people. There has to be a point where blind hatred will not poison the society.
And while tomorrow's generation prepares to fix the problems of today, new cities with new ideas are cropping up. In Karmit, a community in the making, inhabitants will be chosen at a raffle on a first-come, first-served basis, without accounting for religion or ethnic background.
You're going to live next door to Muhammad, or next door to Ismail, or next door to Jasmine. It doesn't much matter, and whether people take it as an example, I mean, we have 6 other examples for them to look at that have already been done. You know, we have Bedouins living in our other communities. We have ultra-Orthodox communities living beside Bedouin towns. You know, if Karmit is taken as an example for the way things should be, great. If not, then the people living in here are better for living here.
Better for living here, maybe, but not exempt from reality. 2.5 miles away from the West Bank and 28 miles from Gaza, every house in Karmit, by law, will have a bomb shelter.
You can't think of Israel like, okay, we're going to fix this and it'll be done. What I think personally is there's never going to be a resolution here. Never, ever, ever in the existence of Israel, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. There will never, ever, ever be a solution here.
And so coexistence becomes about making the other just another neighbor in a neighborhood of people with a common goal: eat, sleep, and work in peace.